Alright, welcome back to another exciting video where I talk a lot, but I am actually going to show you something useful. And this is probably something you will run into while you're preparing your vehicle for van life. It's good to know how to do it, and here's the thing, rust removal. I think most individuals and mechanics and car enthusiasts, anybody who knows anything about cars will agree that rust can be the death of a vehicle. No matter how old it is, whatever mechanical condition, because rust eats into metal and actually will dissolve it. And what causes rust is oxidation. Oxidation is basically where a metal surface is repeatedly or long-term exposed to air and water. And what happens is the minerals or the composition of the metal will start to degrade. Rust will form, and it'll actually basically disappear the metal. It'll make it crumble and fall off, and then you'll end up with a vehicle with holes in it. That's actually why people wax their vehicles. It's not to make it pretty and shiny. Well, I mean, that helps, but it's actually to protect the coat of paint on the vehicle so that it delays the process of paint peeling. Now, once your paint starts peeling, you might want to take care of that right away, because rust will murder your car, and then you'll be very sad. So anyway, but yeah, when I talk about clear coat or, the paint, I'm referring to, the surface. This one's kind of scratched, but not to the point where it's really a concern. I think the scratches are actually from when my idiot ex-boyfriend threw a floor mat up here to get it out of the way. I forget the reason why he tossed it up here, but he did. And the the traction grabbies, I don't know the word for it, scratched the shit out of the hood of the car. And so, what does rust look like? Well, here's this. You can kind of see this this bubbling here right on the front of the hood. So that's kind of an indicator that paint's about to start peeling, or rust has already begun to form. So what I did actually was I took a razor blade and, scraped away at it right here, and I didn't see any rust. I got down to the bare metal kind of in the middle there. I don't know if you can really see it all that well, but yeah, no rust. So, but then there's some more here, there's some here. So yeah, I'll cross that bridge when I get to it, but what's critical right now is the actual rust. Here's some in by the headlight housing. Yeah, the previous owner, like I said in my last video, clipped something and hit this front quarter panel, side panel, whatever you want to call it, and then somebody fixed it. Did an okay job. I mean, it's nothing I'm going to give anybody a medal for. However, yeah, and there's rust actually underneath underneath here. If you can kind of see the reddish undertones in that little spot there. So there's a little bit there. But yeah, the most critical rust I'm worried about at this particular moment in time is this guy. Yeah, he's pretty bad. So I want him gone, and I'm going to take care of this. This is a dent. I had a Band-Aid sticker on there for a while, and so I'm going to take care of that. Yeah, there's a couple other places where there's rust. And I'll go ahead and show you the spot where the previous owner, like somebody tried to get into the car. So yeah, as you can see, there's all these like nicks and scratches and dings, and there's a rusty spot where somebody took I'm just gonna guess they used a crowbar to get into the car. I don't know if they were trying to break into it or if somebody locked their keys inside. I don't know, maybe well, the kids locked themselves inside. But yeah, you can see here, and actually, like I said, this was bent out. This upper area here, the window frame was actually kind of bent out just a little bit. But me and my ex were able to kind of mostly fix that. He pushed down here and I pulled up there, and we were able to bend the door back into shape for the most part. Not completely, but yeah, rain was coming in really bad. In fact, you can actually see here where this gasket got damaged from the prying. So yeah, I'm going to take care of that. But yeah, like I said, that's not critical right now. That's critical maybe like another day. So, but yeah, the one I'm going to show you today, the one we're going to do since it's the most critical, is this one, right above the front driver's side wheel well. Alright, so What do you need to take care of this stuff? Well, I'm going to go over tools and safety precautions, and I'm also going to talk about the best conditions to do this in. We had some snow recently. See on the deck there, we had some snow, and it was really, really cold out. It was below freezing for, I think, 2 days in a row. It was below freezing this morning when I left the house. I had to bundle up. So right now it's cold. I want to say in the 40s, maybe upper 40s, lower 50s. I mean, I'm in flannel, so with a t-shirt under here. And the bandana actually is to cover my hair for when I start digging into this rust. So anyway, what do you need to take care of this sort of thing? Well, you know what? Let's go over safety first. All right, safety items. Here's what you're going to need. You're going to need a very good pair of work gloves, mechanics gloves. This is Mechanics brand. I actually really like these. They're pricier, but they're well worth it. I've had these for about 2 or 3 years. I have washed them in dish soap to get the greasy stuff off of them. They've been washed a couple times. They've survived all sorts of stuff. Actually, I had an incident with my angle grinder when I was inside the van getting the rust out, where I had my finger a little too close to the wheel, and actually, like as I was turning it off, and I actually felt the wheel come in contact with my finger on the outside of the glove, and it scared me a little bit, but you know, I mean, I was going full speed with it, 11,000 RPMs, and it didn't penetrate the glove. So that's noteworthy. So yeah, I have to buy men's gloves. I've got big hands for a girl. Like this part of my hand, like the actual palm and top area of my hand, are like women's sized, but my fingers, on the other hand, are dude sized. They're long. So women's gloves, the fingers are always too short. Men's gloves, however, their things are a little loose, but I can't deal with short fingers. So yeah, so you protect your hands. You want to wear long sleeves, because rust, dust will fly everywhere. And probably also really this is actually the most important thing in my opinion, is a respirator. If you inhale rust dust, you will get very, very sick. You'll be sick. Inhaling that stuff will mess you up. And safety goggles. This is also critical because sometimes, this very, 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 very rare, not only to keep the dust from getting in your eyes, but also to protect your eyes in case you have a malfunction with your angle grinder or whatever tool you're using to remove the rust. I have seen videos and graphic images on the internet of what can happen if the wheel you're using flies off of your angle grinder, and I'll tell you how to prevent that too, actually. So, and here's the angle grinder. Speaking of which, so an angle grinder, this has it rotates. I mean, you can the wheels are interchangeable, and there are different wheels for different purposes. There are cutting wheels, there are brush wheels, there are stripping wheels, polishing wheels, and these things are very, very powerful and can be dangerous if you don't know what the hell you're doing. So I'm just going to tell you right now, always check the RPMs, the RPM ratings of your angle grinder, and compare it against the RPM rating of the wheels you select. So this one's 11,000 RPMs. So the wheel, any wheel attachments that I select must be rated for 11,000 RPMs or higher. If you put the wrong RPM rated wheel onto an angle grinder, what can happen is that wheel can shatter, and pieces will fly across the room and will take out your eye, will cause you to lose half of your hand, get stuck in your body, get stuck in somebody else even. So this is the kind of thing, if someone else is in the room helping you or is with you helping you, they need to be using the same safety gear as you. All right, and this is very important. Never ever put a lower rated wheel that's rated for an RPM lower than what your angle grinder is rated for. All right, so that's the tool we're using. Now these, like I said in my last video, these little play mat puzzle piece things for kids actually will save your life. They'll save your butt from getting sore, your knees from getting sore. Like I said, I hate knee pads, they drive me nuts. So there's that. And then, so after you're done removing your rust, you're going to have to clean the area before you prime it and paint it. So here's a bucket. If here's this stuff. This stuff is called Totally Awesome. I absolutely love this shit, man. This will actually get stains off of stuff. Off of school bus seats. I was a school bus driver for 7 years. This is what I cleaned my bus with when things started getting icky in there. Got the floor, got the seats. So, oh, there's my respirator pads. So, and there's a scrubby brush. Nothing fancy, just your basic generic scrubby brush. And of course a 5-gallon bucket. These things are actually like only a couple dollars at Lowe's. I don't think I spent $6 on the bucket and the lid altogether. So, alright. Oh, and there's my shadow. I lost a whole bunch of weight recently. I had a thyroid problem and it finally got fixed. And actually that was I had that surgery on November 4th. I'm down 60 pounds. And today's February 18th, so this is a few months post-op and I'm down 60 pounds. And it's getting expensive because I keep having to go to the Goodwill to buy clothes and I end up having to take them in on the sewing machine. I'm just glad I have a sewing machine and know how to use it. Anywho, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to get started, and I'm losing sunlight over there, so I need to quit yapping and get on with it. In fact, I might back the car up a little bit and reposition it so that I have more sunlight. In fact, yeah, that's what I'm fixing to do. Side note, make sure your tool's actually plugged in. Alrighty, so here it is. Oh, just gonna grab the whole damn thing. Alright, so there's our nice, shiny, rust-free surface. And I got up underneath that edge there. Oh yeah, my tires are so ratty, I cannot wait to put the new ones on. So yeah, rust can be tricky because, I don't know if you guys noticed this as you were watching, but the rust, this is kind of the area, this little trench, trench-like area here is where the rust was visible. But once I started getting in there and grinding, the rust actually was continuing up underneath the paint. So when you're removing rust, you know, kind of explore with the angle grinder a little bit, go beyond where the rust is visible, because you'll likely discover that the rust actually, the spot is actually bigger than it actually is, but it's just concealed by paint. So next step is going to be to scrub-a-dub-dub. Oh, and shit. Another thing about angle grinders, I'm sure you saw the sparks flying out. Those sparks are thousands of degrees. The friction of the RPMs actually will make things very, very hot, make it very, very hot. And if those sparks hit your bare skin, they can, really seriously hurt you. I don't just mean like, oh, ouch, that hurts. I mean like burns, like as in not the kind of burn you get when you accidentally touch a hot pan on the stove or you catch yourself on the inside of the oven or something like that. I mean actual burns that have to be treated with Neosporin and Band-Aids or bandages and stuff. So they can catch things on fire. That's pretty much unlikely. But yeah, make sure you are covering yourself really good. Like I said, I'm wearing flannel right now. I've got my hair covered. Well, not really fully covered, but yeah, cover up really, really good. I can't say that enough. I'm going to go ahead and just say this too, because I think I'm going to find myself saying it a lot in these videos. Don't be stupid. Okay? You need to listen to people when they give you safety precautions. Alright, so time to clean up this little spot here, and then I'll start priming. And I've still got plenty of sunlight. I may have to move the car again, but that's not a big deal. And it's kind of breezy out here. So hopefully I'll be able to catch a time when I'll be able to kind of work in intervals between the breezy spots. So anyhow, yeah. Alright, time to go over some stuff with the cleaning. I don't know if you all can really see that very well, but there actually are chunks of ice that came out of the hose. So I think what I'm going to do is disconnect it before I go in so that we don't get freezing pipes. So yeah, you just need a little bit of water. I mean, you're just cleaning this like small-ish space here. You don't really need to go nuts. But damn, this stuff, you don't need much because it's actually extremely concentrated. So I'm just gonna do that. But yeah, this stuff gets grease. Like I said, grease, discoloration, like, build-up of stuff that's built up over years on a surface or down into a seat or something like that. Yeah. It's a little smelly. It's sort of lemon scented almost. Yeah, it's got a smell to it, but it's not overpowering. Got the brush. God, will you shut up? God. Alright, so something else I forgot to mention is you need what I call crud towels. They're just some ratty old towels. Use them when I'm cleaning in the house. They're just, old kitchen towels that nobody uses anymore for that purpose. Old beach towels work. You can even use an old t-shirt, but that's basically to get your area good and dry. Alright, so here we go. Okay, I think yeah, I have to zoom out just a little bit. Alright. Flip, flip, flip. Alright, so put the bucket kind of underneath so it can catch any drips. Alright, so here we go. Just swirl it around a little, get it mixed real good. The reason you want to clean a surface that you've just de-rusted is because if you leave the filth on there, the paint won't adhere. It'll adhere to the filth and then it'll come off. Looks like I need to... Oh, no, it's good. So, get up in there real good. That ought to do it. That's still good, so I can put it aside. Alright. Now time to use the crud towels. And you want to dry the surface really, really thoroughly. Otherwise your primer will not stick. It'll just... the wet will dilute the primer. And it won't do its job. Like I said, don't be stupid. Don't do anything half-assed. So, go ahead and get that. Okay, you want to clean from the inside out, by the way, that way, because see how it stays dirty out here? If you start out here and start scrubbing inward, then you're just going to spread all that dust and crap onto your surface. Because, I mean, you can see there's crud. Black stuff, nasty stuff. So anyway, I'm going to flip this inside out on the drier side. Go over it again. Okay. Get all this wet. Okay. Alright, I think that did it. Because this is the only blasting and painting I'm going to do for today. So I really don't really need to do any more wiping around. So I think I got a sufficient amount of space for my primer, and I'm I'm going to cover up this wheel with plastic or something. Yeah, I forgot to find some plastic. I'll go do that right now, and then we'll move on to the next phase of this video. Alright, so just some basic Rust-Oleum primer. Any angle spray, fast drying. Yeah, any angle spray, that can be quite important. Reason being is because if you have to hold the can in a weird position, like, okay, most spray paint cans, if you try to hold it like this, sideways or upside down, it'll start spitting out blobs of paint and it won't work right. And your entire project will pretty much be ruined. So, obviously, shake it up real good. These caps on Rust-Oleum are easier to take off too. The Krylon cans, I hate them. For that reason, actually, I will not buy Krylon because the caps are a bitch to remove. And stand there and fight and fight and fight and fight. So anyway, really good shaking up. And I think after this I'm going to throw this can away because it's getting, I think there's maybe a third of the volume of paint left inside. Because I did use it on the inside of the van too. Oh, and what was those? Oh, a note about rust removal. If you have a Dodge Grand Caravan with the stow-and-go seats, what you also can do is if you discover surface rust when you pull out all the upholstery and all the carpet and everything. Something that I did, and I don't know if other people have done this before, but I bought a whole bunch of CLR. That's a chemical or a compound product called, calcium lime rust. And essentially, what it's good for is, like I said, removing calcium lime rust. You can soak your shower head in it. You can, drop anything pretty much metal into a jar of it. Always use glass. Never dump it in plastic. You want to use glass, like a mason jar or something, or a glass bowl or a pie dish or something like that, to get rust off of stuff, or calcium lime. So anyway, I poured it into the seat wells and let it sit overnight. I didn't fill them all the way up. I just got to where, the rust was just covered. Let it sit overnight, actually drove it to work like that the next day, and while I was driving I could hear it sloshing around. Like I said, I didn't put a lot in there, so none of it sloshed up and got into places where it wasn't supposed to be. And I used bungee cords actually to lift up the relays off the floor so they wouldn't get wet. Although they did end up getting wet anyway when I cleaned up afterwards. But yeah, when I got home that day, probably about 60% of the rust was gone. So that eliminated a great deal of the work. So I used Crud towels to soak up all the CLR, throw them into the washing machine immediately, because that sort of thing you don't want to let it sit too long. Shit. So yeah, there's that. Okay. Well. Let's get going. So, god damn it. Stay put. Yeah, it is windy out here. Gotta get this done though. Duct tape ain't working. Used a plastic trash bag. Shit, I'm gonna duct tape that better. Alright, got the stupid plastic. So I ended up using a plastic trash bag, like I said. I'm not gonna open up a whole thing of drop cloth just to cover a fucking tire. And also, when you're done with it, it's still a trash bag. It just has paint on it. I don't understand why people use a trash bag for something like that and then they throw it away. Like, it's still a trash bag. The paint will dry. You can still use the damn thing. Alright, so we're getting some wind. So I'm going to try to kind of get this done between the gusts. And I do have the door open here to kind of help keep the wind from, Alright, we got a lull in the gust. I'm going to show you how to do this. Very slow, graceful, back and forth sweeping motions. A lot of people, the mistake they make when they're spray painting is they'll do this. They'll hold the spray can too close, they'll hold it too far away, and then they'll have trouble with their coverage, so then they'll hold it in one place too long, or they'll hold it too close. It's pretty much what creates that drip of paint running down. So, just want to do little bursts, slow sweeping motion. Alright, so here we go. Test it first too. There we go. Alright, get up in that spot in there. There we go. That's really all the primer you need. And I can actually cover this entire spot here. I don't have to limit the paint just to this tiny spot. So, not a big deal. A little overspray is not a big deal to me. In fact, the overspray seems like it's already pretty much dry. So yeah, we're in the sun, so it shouldn't take too damn long. Yeah, I think I did go a little heavy in one little spot there, but it's better to have a little too much than not enough. Although, on the same token, you can't take away what you've already put on. I tried to do that with a paper towel when I did the floor inside, and it didn't go very well. Alright, so I'm just going to let that sit and dry, and sit this guy down, and I'm going to turn you off for just a minute so I can go pee, and I'll come back out and just keep kind of babysitting this.